What's up everyone, it's Tony here and welcome back to the Yacht Addiction YouTube channel. Today we're going to be touring a debuting yacht at the Cannes Yachting Festival. I'm standing on the foredeck of a Sunreef Power 60 Eco. Now the Eco designator, that means this is an electric yacht, and I'm going to explain how that system works a little bit later on. You have tremendous range on this yacht. It's very efficient as well, so I think you're all going to really enjoy this one. The length is 60 feet or about 18.3 meters. And because this is a catamaran, you have a very wide beam of 35 feet or about 10.7 meters. So thank you, of course, to Sunreef Yachts for granting me access on board. This yacht is making its world debut. However, it is already owned and the owner is on board. So we have to be a little bit mindful because he does have a few people on board. So we're going to work around them as best as possible. And you'll see this yacht does have solar panels littered throughout. I think we'll go ahead and get started. And since we're up here, let's talk about this area now. You have a huge space up here. Naturally, on a catamaran, the name of the game is volume. There's so much space on board to entertain and enjoy. And I like the concept they went with up here. Because you have two different sides, they kind of went with opposite perspectives. On this side, we have the sun pads. And it's a really good size, about what you would expect to see on a 60-foot single-hulled yacht. But because we have the other hull, on this side, we have a sunken lounge. So you have the L-shaped seating, as well as the teak table. And then up here, we just have some freestanding furniture. And if you were purchasing one of these, you could have this set up however you'd like. You could have additional sun loungers. You'll see some of the additional solar panels right here. And there's also a door that leads into the main salon. Then you can see the flybridge up here. Also, while we're up here, you do have two different crew quarters, and they're located right here. And we are not going to climb down here, but as you can see, you have the wet room. You'll see the toilet and the sink, and then that faucet will clip up, acting as your shower. And then down here, this is where you'll find the bed. So let's close that up behind us. And you have the same thing on the opposite side, underneath the same glass panel right over here. So I think next we're going to head up to the flybridge first, actually. And you do have the main helm station in the main salon, but you have a secondary helm station up on the flybridge. So up here, this makes great use of all of that beam width. We have a lovely alfresco dining table and the very deep, very plush U-shaped seating that wraps around. You do have the skylights in the ceiling. And then back here, this is pretty cool. The entire width, you have the sun pads. So you could fit a ton of people on board here laying out. One thing that is really great about catamarans, they're extremely comfortable and very stable. Then here, take a look at this helm station. Over here, we have the catering section, so we have the barbecue. You have your refrigerator. Your sink is right here. And we have the ice maker. So everything you could ever want, tucked away in a nice package right here. And just take a look at the view you get from the flybridge. We're at the Cannes Yachting Festival. So definitely not the worst view in the world, probably one of the best. And now let me talk about the ecosystem on board and how this works, because we don't have your traditional diesel engines on board, which I know sounds crazy, but this yacht is extremely efficient, and I think you're going to be very impressed with what you hear. So you can set up the screen. I'm not going to mess with it now. I know downstairs they had a sign that says please don't touch, so I don't want to mess with these screens. But you can set a screen to show your power. And actually, I think downstairs it's configured to that, but it's a little more open up here. So I'll talk about it now and I'll show you that screen down below. But on the screen, when you're underway, it will show you how many kilowatts are used. So at 8 knots, this yacht will use about 70 kilowatts of power. Now you have a huge battery on board. The battery actually can hold 330 kilowatts of power. So when you're cruising at 8 knots, you actually get about 4 to 4.5 hours of cruising at 8 knots on battery power alone. This yacht is eerily quiet when you're doing so. Naturally, just like an electric car, it's just silent through the water. Now, how do you replenish the batteries? This is where you get such great efficiency. To recharge the batteries, you have 2 generators on board. They're both 70 kilowatts. So if you want to just maintain your level when you're cruising after a couple of hours, you can turn on one of the generators and then your battery level will stay at what it's currently at. And if you wanted to charge while you're underway at 8 knots, you can do so by running both generators at the same time. So that's just crazy impressive in itself. Beyond that, whenever you stop at a destination, the go-to number is about 80% of your charge on the batteries. So whether that means you're charging while you're underway or you charge once you get to your destination, once you get to 80%, you can operate on fully electric power for up to 48 hours, and that includes all your systems on board. And when I say all systems, I mean even the heavy hitters, like your air conditioning, your freezers and refrigerators, everything you need to operate the boat. Obviously the lights, of course, but those are lower powered compared to the AC in the fridge. You can operate everything for up to 48 hours on just the electric power. And the solar panels littered around, those will also help boost the battery and charge to keep things working with all your different appliances. And beyond just the eco-friendliness and those capabilities, the range on this yacht is extremely impressive. You're actually looking at 4,000 to 5,000 nautical miles at 8 knots, which I know it's just crazy to think about, but this yacht carries a good amount of fuel. You actually can have over 5,000 liters of fuel. And the fuel is for your generators, of course, not for any actual engines. So when you think about it, one of the main benefits, you'll never have to waste your time at the marina, waiting in the fuel line, waiting to fuel up. At the beginning of a season, assuming you're not going to do some crazy around the world trip, at the beginning of the season, you could fill up your fuel tanks, and then you'll be good to go for the rest of the season.
One of these boats belongs to Fernando Alonso, the F1 driver.
I did hear that. My son said that. It's a public information.
Now back here, as you expect on a catamaran like this, you do have the hydraulic swim platform, so you can house your tender here. And then we have the steps up on either side. You have a very wide opening for your door into the main salon. And take a look at the interior design in here. This is stunning. You have your formal dining area. And we started to get some traffic up on the flybridge. That's why we continued on. But yeah, you can fuel up one time for the season. Never have to worry about it ever again. Eco cruising all over the world. You can see your main seating area over here. And the woodwork in here, this is such a classy space. Here you have the wine fridge. And then here is inside your main helm station. And here's that screen I was talking about. So you can see right in the middle, front and center, you can see how much battery power you have left. And when you're operating, you'll see the RPMs, but then also here is where it shows how much energy you're using depending on your speed. And the batteries, located underneath the floor in the middle of the main salon. And then here is the door that we saw earlier that leads out to the foredeck. And also, fun fact, if you're an F1 fan like I am, Fernando Alonso actually owns a Sunreef Eco model, so that's pretty cool, just a fun fact for you. And then this is a catamaran, so we have the holes on each side, and that's where you find the owner suite and the guest cabins. So let's head down this staircase. And the woodwork is just gorgeous in every single space. It's very dark and moody in here, but I kind of like it. And then through here, the same theme as you kind of find in the main salon. Very dark, very moody. The the beautiful woods and then the dark accents. And you just have the single cabin down here.
When there's all the wind, the captain doesn't want to go on the sail. And when there's no wind, obviously you don't have to sail, so you're constantly motoring with an under-motorized boat because they're not made to motor with wind.
Yes.
So when they came up with this solution, I said, oh, that's interesting because like this I can actually experience sailing without a sail.
Now here we have a mirrored cabin on this side. And you might have heard that was actually the owner at the helm station explaining some of his thoughts behind buying this yacht. One of them was just the eco-friendly factor as well. It's better for the environment than a traditional diesel engine. But also, you can get the sensation of a sailing yacht because of the electric capabilities. So there's just multiple factors that make this yacht a tremendous option. And I love the little details in the headboard over here. You have the vertical wood lines.
It produces about 70 kilowatts, and it's just enough to power the electric engines at 8 knots. And if you're heating that,
There's also a TV here.
wind or whatever it is, you can also power up the second generator, and you can move.
Then this is the owner's suite. This is a massive space for a 60-foot yacht. This is incredible. Same thing, I really love the design of the headboard. You have the accent lights, the TV that pops up right here, a really good sized window. Then behind this door, there's a pocket door. And this is where we find the ensuite. So you still have the double vanity, a huge bench in the shower as well. And then your closet space will be in these sections here and right over here. But you also have a little bit of storage underneath the TV, then also the built-in chargers for your phone. It's a nice little touch. Then we have one more staircase.
The good thing is, if there's no sails, you don't go zigzag, your eyes are going straight. So I just put waypoints on the autopilot and go for the. So that's why I took it so Poland. When I drove it, I went to.
We have one more cabin located right here. And depending on how many guests you have on board, this could be an ultra luxurious captain's cabin. But I think technically it is another guest cabin. And then also forward in this space, we have the galley. And your fridge and freezer are incorporated into the wall. Beautiful design in here, as you can see. Then here, of course, you can see your alfresco dining area. And you have an additional lounging space right over here. And as you can always expect on a catamaran, extremely wide side decks. And and you'll see how this wraps around to the foredeck where we started the tour. So comment down below, let me know what you think of the Sunreef 60 Eco. Particularly, I want to hear your thoughts on the Eco version and how that system works. I think it's pretty incredible that you could travel thousands and thousands of miles with just fueling up once at the beginning of a season. It's very efficient, and I also like how you're in complete control of the system. So you can choose, depending on your destinations, if you're going to have shore power or not. You can really choose how you're going to travel and how you want to set things up. But it allows you the flexibility to be very efficient and very mindful while you're cruising. And also, as mentioned, you get that sensation of sailing, which you could never get on any other type of motor yacht. So thank you, of course, to Sunreef Yachts for granting us access on board. I'm going to link them down in the description. If you want to learn more, please go ahead and check them out. Thank you again for watching, and we will catch you next time.